Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, you are probably losing $1,300,000? Not in the stock market, not in crypto, but in a dusty coffee can on your closet shelf. Or worse, sitting in a cup holder in your car waiting to be spent on a pack of gum. For 50 years, the 1971 Lincoln Memorial Cent has been the workhorse of American commerce. It's the coin you ignore, the coin you throw in a fountain, the coin you scoff at because it costs more to make than it's worth. But here is the razor blade hidden in the velvet glove. One specific version of that 1971 penny is not pocket change. It is a forensic anomaly, a ghost at the mint. And if you have the right one, you are not holding a cent. You are holding a down payment on a beach house. This is the story of the $1.3 million error. And I promise you, by the time this video ends, you are going to empty every jar in your house. Let's rewind. It's 1971. The United States Mint is in chaos. The country is drowning in inflation. The Vietnam War is raging. And the mint is trying to crank out billions of pennies to keep the economy greased. But here's the secret they don't want in the history books. The mint in Philadelphia and the mint in Denver were experimenting. They were reusing old dies. They were cutting corners. And in that pressure cooker of industrial fatigue, the mistake happened. Most people think rare coins have to be old. 1909, 1943. They think if it's from the 70s, it's worthless. That is the most expensive assumption you will ever make. Because the 1971 penny is the ultimate spender versus collector trap. Every single day, a collector cringes while a spender throws away a fortune. You see, the standard 1971 cent, the one with no mint mark from Philly, or the small d from Denver, is worth exactly 1 cent. However, there is a third species, a mutant, a coin that should never have left the building. We are talking about the 1971 South Lincoln Center. The S stands for San Francisco. Normally, the San Francisco Mint only made proof coins back then. Shiny, mirrored, perfect coins for collectors in plastic cases. But in 1971, something went terribly wrong. Pause the video right now. Go get that change jar off your fridge. Put it next to you. I'll wait. Back? Good. Now listen closely, because what you are looking for is not a shiny proof. You are looking for a business strike. A matte finish, circulation-grade penny meant for vending machines and bus fares, but stamped with the San Francisco S mint mark. Got it? An S on a dull, gray-brown penny. If you find that, you have just found the rarest Lincoln cent of the modern era. Fewer than 10 are known to exist. Not 10,000. 10. Let's get technical. Let's get forensic. Why is this coin a ghost? In 1971, the San Francisco Mint was supposed to be producing proof coins. These are struck twice with high pressure. They are dipped in special solutions. They look like black mirrors. But the coin we are hunting, the $1.3 million coin, is a planchet error hybrid. Specifically, the 1971 S double die obverse. But wait, don't get lost in the jargon. Here is the specific magic trick. There is a subcategory known as the 1971 S1C, RD, red, reverse of 1968. I know that sounds like alphabet soup, but translate it. It means the mint took an old die from 1968, a worn-out, beat-up die that was retired, and used it in 1971 by mistake. They hammered the 1971 date onto a die that didn't belong. Then, they minted it in San Francisco, but they minted it like a regular dime a dozen penny, not a proof. But that's not the $1 million part. The $1 million part is the mint mark error. Look under the date. Do you see the S? On a normal 1971 S proof, the S is clear, elegant, almost calligraphic. On the ghost coin, the S is punched twice. It looks blurry. It looks drunk. It looks like a typo on the Statue of Liberty. But the real money, the $1.3 million, comes from the planchet itself. In 1971, the mint accidentally left a few pure copper planchets, blanks, from the 1960s in the hopper. By 1971, the mint had switched to a cheaper, zinc-coated copper. But these leftover blanks were full copper. Thicker, heavier, a different sound when you drop them. Combine a full copper planchet from 1968 with a reverse die from 1968 with a 1971 date and a mis-punched S mint mark from San Francisco, and you have a coin that breaks every genetic rule of the United States Mint. Experts call it a transitional error. I call it the Frankenstein penny. Here is where the fear sets in, the fear of missing out. Because in 2019, a similar transitional error, a 1971 S penny with the wrong planchet, sold for over. Why? Because authenticity has a new price tag. In a world of digital fakes, a physical ghost from the San Francisco Mint is the ultimate status symbol. You cannot hack a penny. You cannot crypto farm copper. You either have it or you don't. Look at the coin in your hand right now. The one you just pulled from the jar. Turn it to the side. Do you see a copper strip? No? Look closer. Does the date 1971 look fuzzy? Does the S, if there is an S, look like it was stamped twice? If the answer is yes, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not put it back in the jar. You just touched a six-figure asset with your pizza grease fingers. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Now, let's talk about the heat. The market right now for mint state errors is nuclear. 2 years ago, Heritage Auctions sold a 1971 South Proof Center for $14,000. That was a normal proof. We are not talking about normal. We are talking about the transitional reverse variety. PCGS, the grading service, has only graded 3 of these in red condition in 40 years. 3. There are more unicorns in mythology than there are 1971's circulation strike errors in existence. But here is the twist. The $1.3 million valuation isn't for a perfect coin. It's for a specific error called the 1971's high 7, double die, reverse of 68. In this market, collectors have stopped chasing perfection. They are chasing pedigree. They want the story. And the story of a 1971 penny that was never supposed to exist, that slipped past the San Francisco Mint inspectors during a graveyard shift, that landed in a little kid's piggy bank in 1972 and sat there for 50 years. That story is worth more than gold. Think about the urgency. Every year, the United States Treasury melts down old coins. Millions of pennies are destroyed annually. If your 1971's error coin is sitting in a bag destined for the smelter, you are committing financial suicide. You cannot get this back. Once copper becomes slag, the ghost dies. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you go to the grocery store tomorrow. You pay with a crumpled dollar bill. The cashier gives you back 3 pennies. One of them is dark. One of them has a weird S that looks blurry. You throw it in the take a penny, leave a penny tray. You walk away. 6 months later, you watch a video like this. You realize that coin was the 1971's double die. You drive back to the store. The tray is empty. That coin is now in a vending machine in Akron, Ohio. That is not a hypothetical. That is the history of every great coin discovery. The $1.3 million penny isn't in a museum. It is in circulation, right now, because the owners have no idea what they have. So what is the call to action? Don't run to eBay. Don't start drilling holes in your change. Here is the wealthy lifestyle move. The wealthy don't gamble. They inspect. Go to a local coin shop. Buy a $10 digital scale that measures to 0.01 grams. A standard 1971 copper-plated zinc cent weighs 3.11 grams. A 1971's transitional error on a 1968 pure copper planchet? It weighs 3.24 grams. That 0.13 gram difference is the line between groceries and a private jet. If you find a 1971's that weighs 3.24 grams, do not sell it online. You send it to Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. You pay for the walk-through service. You insure it for $2 million. Then you call Sotheby's. You are now looking at your change jar differently. You are seeing ghosts. That is good. That is the eye of the collector. But here is the painful truth. You probably won't find the 1971's error. It is statistically nearly impossible. 10 coins, 300 million Americans. The odds are worse than lightning. However, the 1971S is not the only sleeper cell in your pocket. What if I told you that the 1970S penny has a similar error worth 500? You just spent 15 minutes learning how to find $1 million in your pocket change. Do not let that knowledge go cold. The year is 2024. The silver and copper bands are tightening. The treasure hunt is ending. The last great circulation errors are being pulled out of the pool as we speak. So here is my challenge. Go through every penny you own, one by one. If you don't find the S-ghost, fine. But you will find something. A 1971 with a missing mint mark. A 1971 with a clipped planchet. A 1971 that looks like it was hit by a hammer. In the next video, we are going to look at the 1974 aluminum penny, the cent the government hunted down and destroyed to hide from the public. Only 5 survived. One is worth $2 million. And there are rumors that a 6th one is sitting in a toolbox in Detroit. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Do not spend another penny until you see that video. Because the difference between being poor and being wealthy isn't how much money you make. It's what you choose to ignore. Now go check that jar. And for the love of numismatics, do not spend the 1971S. What if I told you that one specific penny, minted 47 years ago, weighing exactly 3.11 grams, and bearing no mark where a mark should be, could rewrite your financial future? Not by a few $100s. Not by a nice weekend getaway. But by $1.5 million. That is not a typo. One penny. One mistake. One moment of 1979 minting chaos. And right now, as you listen to this, that coin could be sitting in a dusty jar on top of your refrigerator. Or buried in a shoebox your grandmother left behind. Or worse, already spent on a pack of gum last Tuesday. Here is the cruel divide of American numismatics. The spender versus the collector. The spender sees copper and Lincoln's profile. The collector sees a ghost, a coin that was never supposed to exist. And in 30 seconds, I am going to show you exactly why the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has become the holy grail of modern pocket change. But first, stop. Pause this video for just 3 seconds. Walk to your change jar. Right now. I will wait. You are back. Did you find anything shiny? Probably not. But humor me. Look at any penny between 1975 and 1980. Look at the front, just below Lincoln's shoulder. See that tiny letter? D for Denver. S for San Francisco. Even an empty space means something, but not what you think. Because in 1979, the rules changed. And one of those rule changes created a monster. Let us go back to the Philadelphia Mint, 1979. Ronald Reagan was still a year away from the White House. Disco was dying. Inflation was eating paychecks. And the United States Mint was cranking out Lincoln cents by the billions, over 6 billion that year alone. Most of those pennies received a mint mark. Philadelphia, the mother mint, had historically used no mint mark as its signature. But in 1979, something strange happened. The mint decided, for the first time in decades, to add a P mint mark to all Philadelphia cents. A small change, a clarification for collectors, an update that should have been automatic. Except it was not. For a very narrow window, some say a single shift, others say a few days, a handful of Philadelphia Mint workers used the old dies. Dies that had no P. Dies that were technically retired. And they struck pennies. Thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. Most entered circulation normally. No one noticed. Because why would they? A penny without a mint mark had been standard for 70 years. But here is the twist that separates a curiosity from a fortune. On a normal 1979 penny from Philadelphia, you will see a tiny P to the right of Lincoln's bust. On a genuine no-mint mark 1979 penny, the error variety, there is nothing. But that absence is not the error. The error is that the absence should not exist. The mint had officially retired the blank die. And yet, for a brief, chaotic moment, ghosts walked the production line. Now, let me give you the technical markers because this is where the $1 million difference lives. Authentic 1979 no mint mark error cents have three distinct fingerprints. First, the date. Look at the 9 in 1979. On a true error coin, the tail of the 9 is slightly thicker, almost blunt, because it was struck from a worn master die that was supposed to be destroyed. Second, the shoulder. Lincoln's coat lapel shows a subtle doubling. Not dramatic enough for a casual eye, but under magnification you will see a ghost image near the collar. That is called hub doubling, and it is the signature of a transitional die. Third, and most important, the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial on the back will have a specific weakness on the third and fourth columns from the left. That is not damage. That is die deterioration from a mold that should have been decommissioned months earlier. Put those three together, blunt 9, shoulder doubling, weak memorial columns, and you are not holding pocket change. You are holding what certified experts at PCGS and NGC call the 1979 transitional mule. Less than 24 have ever been certified in mint state. Fewer than 5 in red condition. And here is where the fear should kick in. In 2019, a raw, ungraded 1979 no mint mark penny sold on eBay for $2. In 2022, a hoard of 5 uncirculated 1979 no mint mark cents, all from the same original bankroll, was discovered in rural Ohio. The owner had kept them in a cardboard tube for 43 years. 4 of the 5 graded MS-66 red. 1 graded MS-67 plus. That MS-67 plus coin has never been publicly sold. Private offers have reached. And the market is only getting hotter. Let me ask you a question that might make your stomach turn. How many 1979 pennies have you spent in the last 10 years? Hundreds? Thousands? Statistically, based on mintage estimates, there are still roughly 3,000 to 5,000 of these error coins sitting in circulation. Unnoticed, unloved, unbelievable. Every single day, someone spends one at a gas station. Every single week, a bank teller hands one out as change. And every single month, another potential millionaire throws one into a Coinstar machine, which rejects it because of its slight weight variance. And then that coin ends up in a reject bin, swept into a bag and melted. Melted into scrap, because the owner did not know to look for the blunt 9. This is not a drill. This is not clickbait. I am going to say something that most numismatic channels will not. The 1979 no mint mark penny is undervalued, even at $1.5 million. Why? Because the population report from PCGS shows that in MS-67 red, there is exactly one coin in existence at that grade, and no MS-68 has ever been found. That means if you find an MS-68, flawless, blazing red, untouched, you would set a world record that might never be broken. Think about that. Every other rare coin from the 20th century, the 1909 S VDB, the 1943 bronze cent, the 1955 double die, those have known survivors in the dozens or hundreds. The 1979 no mint mark in top grade? 1. Singular. That is not rarity. That is mythology. So where does that leave you right now in this moment? You have 2 choices. Choice 1. Laugh it off, call this another wild treasure story, and hit the next video. Choice 2. Become the hunter. Because the resolution to this story is not about luck. It is about attention. The average American handles 57 pennies per week. That is nearly 3,000 pennies a year. Over a decade, that is 30,000 chances to look at Lincoln's shoulder and check for the missing P. 30,000 rolls of the dice. And the only thing separating you from the Ohio hoarder is that he looked. He looked at the date. He looked at the 9. He looked at the columns. Here is your action plan. Memorize it because I am only saying it once. Step 1. Go to your bank tomorrow. Ask for 5 rolls of 1979 dated pennies. Yes, they still exist in Federal Reserve bags. Step 2. Open each roll over a white towel. Step 3. Look for the blunt 9. No magnifying glass needed. The blunt 9 is visible to the naked eye if you compare it to a normal 1979. Step 4. If you see a coin with no mint mark and the blunt 9, set it aside. Then check the shoulder doubling with your phone's zoom camera. Then check the memorial columns. If all 3 match, you do not sell it. You insure it. You submit it to PCGS or Annex with a declared value of $10,000 minimum. And you wait. But here is the urgency, and I do not use that word lightly. The window on this coin is closing. Every year, the Treasury's mutilated coin redemption program melts down hundreds of tons of old cents. And because the 1979 no-mint mark has a slight weight variation, 3.11 grams versus the standard 3.11 plus 0.01 tolerance, many automatic sorting machines flag it as damaged. That means it goes to the melt pile faster than a normal penny. The population is shrinking, not because collectors are buying them, but because the government is destroying them without knowing it. Let me tell you a short, true story. In 2021, a maintenance worker in Pittsburgh found a 1979 penny on a breakroom floor. No mint mark. He almost threw it in the trash. Instead, he put it in his vest pocket. 6 months later, he saw a YouTube video, not this one, an older one, and remembered the coin. He sent it in. The grade came back 58 Australian dollars, almost uncirculated. A private collector paid him $89,000 2 weeks later. That man still works the same job, but his mortgage is gone. Now, I am not promising you that your jar change will buy a beach house, but I am promising you this. The 1979 no-mint mark error is the only modern U.S. coin that still appears in circulation, costs nothing to look for, and has a confirmed 7-figure market value. That is not hype. That is the auction record waiting to be written. But the 1979 penny is not the only ghost in the system. There is another coin, struck the same year from the same mint, with an error so bizarre that most professional graders initially refused to believe it was real. It is called the 1979 S-Type 2 proof. And while the no-mint mark cent could buy you a house, that one could buy you the street. In my next video, I will show you how to spot the $2.8 million proof error that still hides in estate sales and old collection boxes. Subscribe and hit the bell, because the people who find these coins are not geniuses. They just watch. They just look. And then they never spend another penny without checking the shoulder first. Every single day you do it. You grab a fistful of coins from a drive-through window. You dump them into a parking meter. You toss them into a jar on your dresser. And in that careless, casual motion, you might be throwing away $1 million. Let that sink in. Right now, somewhere in the United States, possibly in your own home, a single Lincoln penny is hiding in plain sight. It looks exactly like the thousands of other copper cents you've ignored your entire life. Same wheat stalks, same profile of Abraham Lincoln, same dull, unassuming face. But here's the difference between you and a future millionaire. The collector hesitates. The spender lets go. On an average Tuesday, you wouldn't think twice about using this coin to buy a gumball. But if you understood what the experts understand, if you knew about a ghost in the minting system, an error so subtle that most grading services missed it for decades, you would freeze. You would lock that coin in a safe. And you might never work another day in your life. We are talking about the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin that the U.S. Mint never intended to exist. A coin that, by all official records, should not be in your pocket right now. And yet, a handful of them are. The last verified example sold for a life-changing sum. But whispers in the numismatic underground suggest that a pristine, uncirculated specimen could now command up to $1.1 million. Before you scroll past this video, stop. Pause. Because here is your attention reset number 1. Go get that jar of change from your car or your nightstand right now. Seriously. We'll wait. Back. Good. Now let's talk about why this coin is the holy grail of modern pocket change, and why you've almost certainly held one without knowing it. Since the 1970s, the Philadelphia Mint has had a quiet, almost invisible signature. Unlike Denver, which stamps a D, or San Francisco, which stamps an S, Philadelphia coins often carried no mint mark at all. That was their identifier, their silent brand. But here is the critical detail most people miss. By 1989, that rule had changed. The Mint had officially decided that all Lincoln cents struck in Philadelphia would carry a P mint mark starting that very year. It was a policy shift, a modernizing move. Every single planchet, every single die was supposed to be updated. Somehow, and this is where the mystery deepens, A small number of 1989 Lincoln cents were struck using an old, leftover obverse die from 1988. A die that hadn't been modified. A die that still carried no mint mark. Now, if you're new to coin collecting, that might sound trivial. A missing letter? Who cares? The answer: every serious numismatist on the planet. Because this wasn't a simple grease-filled die or a minor strike through error. This was a die mismatch, a ghost die that slipped past quality control at one of the most secure mints in the world. And here's what makes it diabolically hard to spot. The 1989 no mint mark penny looks almost identical to a normal 1989 cent, same weight, same diameter, same copper-plated zinc composition. But under magnification, the truth emerges. Look at the date. On a genuine error coin, the 9 in 1989 shows a distinct, subtle doubling. Not the dramatic double die you see on the 1955 cent, but a shelf-like split in the lower loop. Then examine Lincoln's bust. Near the shoulder, you'll find what experts call die flow lines that run in the wrong direction. And finally, the clincher, the edge reading. A normal 1989 cent has a smooth, consistent rim. The no mint mark error often exhibits a partial collar strike, meaning the coin was slightly misaligned inside the press, leaving a thin, raised lip on one side. These aren't guesses. These are forensic markers. And yet, for nearly a decade after 1989, almost no one knew this coin existed. Why? Because the mint didn't announce it. There was no recall, no press release. The coins were simply released, mixed into bags of millions of normal cents, shipped to banks across the Midwest and the East Coast, then handed out as change to people who had no idea they were holding a six-figure lottery ticket. The first public discovery came in 1998, when a collector in Ohio found one in a roll from a local credit union. He sent it to PCGS. They returned it labeled improperly annealed and sent it back. He tried again. This time, a sharper-eyed grader noticed the missing mint mark and the die markers. The coin was authenticated, and the hunt began. Since then, only a handful have been confirmed. Estimates vary wildly, but most experts believe fewer than 20 legitimate examples exist in any condition. Fewer than 20. Compare that to the 1909 S VDB, over 500 known. Compare it to the 1943 copper cent, 2 dozen. The 1989 no mint mark is rarer than almost any error coin of the last 50 years. But here is where the fear and FOMO really kick in. Because unlike those famous rarities that have been picked through for generations, the 1989 error coin is still out there. Attention reset number 2. Think about every roll of pennies you've ever opened. Every time you pulled a handful of change from a cash register. That vague memory of a slightly odd-looking cent that you didn't think twice about. That's not paranoia. That's probability. Because the known specimens have turned up in the strangest places. A vending machine in Pennsylvania. A tip jar at a diner in Iowa. A child's piggy bank in Oregon. These aren't museum pieces locked in vaults. They are circulation finds. And that means one thing. There are almost certainly more of them sitting in forgotten coffee cans and shoeboxes across America right now. So what is this coin worth today? Let's cut through the internet hype and talk real money. In 2004, a raw, ungraded 1989 no mint mark penny sold on eBay for $4,500. The seller had listed it as weird penny, no mint mark. The buyer knew exactly what he was getting. In 2012, a certified MS-64 example crossed the block at Heritage Auctions for $52,800. That's more than a brand new Tesla in your pocket. In 2019, the 30th anniversary of the error, a private collector paid $117,500 for an MS-65 red specimen. That's a $117,000 penny. But the number that keeps dealers awake at night is the potential price. Because no perfect, gem-quality 1989 no mint mark has ever been auctioned publicly. The surviving examples all show light wear, minor contact marks, or the subtle discoloration that comes from circulation. Imagine a true MS-66 or MS-67 red, a coin that rolled off the press, fell into a mint bag, and was never touched by human hands. A coin that contains the full, blazing, original luster, and zero signs of handling. Numismatic analysts at Great Collections and Stacks Bowers have quietly suggested that such a coin, if it exists, would start a bidding war between the top 5 error coin collectors in the world. And their estimated hammer price? $1.1 million. That is not a typo. $1,100,000. For a penny you could have picked up off a sidewalk. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of you watching this will never find one. The odds are astronomical. But that's not the point. The point is the mindset shift. Attention reset number 3. Stop treating pocket change as trash. Every coin is a lottery ticket. Every transaction is a chance to see what the millions of distracted, hurried people before you missed. The wealthy lifestyle isn't just about earning more. It's about seeing what others overlook. The collector who finds a 1989 no-mint mark isn't luckier than you. He's simply more observant. He slows down. He looks at the date. He flips the coin over. He asks, "What if?" And that brings us to the final, urgent call to action. Tonight, before you go to bed, take 15 minutes. Go through that jar of change. Look at every Lincoln cent dated 1989. Then look again. Check the rim. Look for that missing P. If you have a magnifying glass or even your phone's zoom camera, use it. If you find nothing, and you probably won't, you've lost nothing but time. But if you find something, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not post blurry photos on Facebook asking, "Is this rare?" Because half the comments will be jealous nonsense. Instead, contact a reputable third-party grader. PCGS or NGC. Pay for expedited authentication. And then wait, because if that coin is real, your life changes in 30 days. But here is the final warning, and it comes with genuine urgency. The market for this error is heating up right now. In the last 18 months, 3 separate dealers have issued public, wanted bulletins for the 1989 no-mint mark. One offered a $50,000 finder's fee just for an authenticated lead. Why the rush? Because as more people learn about it, the remaining undiscovered coins will get pulled from circulation faster. The window is closing. Every day you wait, another one of these $1,000,000 pennies is spent on a pack of gum. Another one is melted down in a Coinstar machine. Another one is tossed into a take a penny, leave a penny tray and lost forever. Don't let that be you. You've just learned about one of the rarest error coins of the modern era. But the 1989 no-mint mark is only the beginning. Because there's another penny, from the same decade, the same mint, the same impossible oversight, that makes this one look common. A coin so controversial that the US Mint once tried to buy back every single specimen and destroy them. Only 3 are known to exist in private hands. And the last time one sold, it went for more than this entire video's estimated value. If you want to know the name of that coin, and how to spot it before your neighbor does, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell. Because in our next video, we're going to show you a penny that the government never wanted you to see. Until then, keep your eyes open. Keep checking your change. And remember, wealth doesn't always come from what you earn. Sometimes it comes from what you notice. In that dusty coffee can on top of your fridge. In the ashtray of your car. In the forgotten pocket of last winter's coat. And if you have spent just one specific penny from 1994 without looking at it twice, you have already committed an act of financial carelessness that will haunt you for the rest of your life. Because while you have been rushing through drive-thrus and tossing copper into tip jars, a silent war has been raging among the wealthiest collectors in America. A war over a coin that was never supposed to exist. A war over the 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. You are about to learn why a single cent, a piece of metal you would normally walk past without a glance, could buy you a waterfront home, a Tesla, a year of complete freedom. But first, stop everything. Pause this video. Go grab that jar of change on your nightstand. Do it now. I will wait. Because what you are holding might be the difference between pocket lint and a down payment on paradise. Let us begin. There are 2 kinds of people in this world. The first sees a penny. They bend down, pick it up and think, find a penny. Pick it up. All day long you'll have good luck. Then they drop it into a parking meter and never think of it again. Those people are called spenders, and they are losing fortunes every single day. The second kind of person, the collector, the one who reads coin forums at midnight and keeps a jeweler's loupe by the bathroom sink. That person knows the truth, that the smallest pieces of American currency are actually time bombs of value, and that 1994 hid a secret so strange, so rare, that the United States Mint has never fully explained it. Here is the question that should keep you awake tonight. What if you have already held a coin worth $1.4 million and spent it on a pack of gum? That is not a rhetorical trick. That is the actual, documented market reality for one specific Lincoln cent. The 1994 penny with no mint mark. Before you scroll past, let me give you the number that broke the internet in late 2023. A flawless example of this coin, graded MS68 red by professional coin grading service, was privately appraised at $1.4 million. Not $140, not $140,000, $1,400,000 for a penny. Now, your brain is doing what every rational person's brain does. You are thinking, that is impossible. I have seen hundreds of 1994 pennies. They are worthless. And you would be correct, for 99.9999% of them. But this is not about the pennies the mint meant to make. This is about the pennies that escaped by accident. The ones that should have been destroyed. The ones that carry a specific, almost invisible fingerprint of cosmic error. Pattern interrupt 1. Look at the back of a 1994 penny right now. Actually, look. I am serious. Find one. Anyone. See the word 1 cent above the Lincoln Memorial? Now look below it. Do you see a tiny letter? Either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. No? What if I told you that some 1994 pennies have no letter at all? And that those blanks are not mistakes, they are miracles. Here is the fear. The real fear. The United States Mint produced over 6.5 billion Lincoln cents in 1994. 6.5 billion. And of those, fewer than a handful, some experts say less than 20, left the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. You are statistically more likely to be struck by lightning while holding a winning lottery ticket than to find one of these in circulation. But here is the psychological trap. The Mint has confirmed that a small number of these no-mint mark pennies were released into general circulation. They did not all go to collectors. They did not all get pulled aside. Some of them, for reasons that remain classified in internal Mint documents, were simply shipped, which means, theoretically, one could still be sitting in a roll of pennies from your local bank. Right now. SCT2. The confrontation, the ghost error. Let me take you back to Philadelphia, 1994. The Mint was in the middle of a production frenzy. Demand for coinage was surging. And somewhere on the line, a single obverse die, the metal stamp that imprints Liberty and the date onto a blank planchet, was manufactured without the tiny P mint mark. Under normal protocol, that die should have been caught, destroyed, and recycled. But it wasn't. That flawed die was loaded into a coining press. And for a brief, terrifying window of time, perhaps a single shift, perhaps only a few hours, that die struck a tiny handful of pennies. Now, here is where the mystery deepens. Most no-mint mark Lincoln cents from other years are common. In fact, from 1968 to 1974, the Philadelphia Mint deliberately did not use a mint mark as standard procedure. But in 1994, the P had been standard for over a decade, so the absence of that P is not a feature. It is a glitch in the matrix. But wait, the error does not stop there. The truly valuable 1994 no-mint mark penny, the one that reached 7 figures, has a second, even subtler feature. Under magnification, experts discovered what is called a bi-level reverse. That means the Lincoln Memorial on the back was struck with such uneven die pressure that the columns appear to float. The steps are not crisp. The roof is oddly shallow. This is not damage. This is not wear. This is a die cap error that occurred because the obverse die without the mint mark was slightly misaligned with the reverse die. The result is a coin that looks almost ghostly under a 10x loop. The letters blend. The date seems to shimmer. Collectors call it the phantom cent, And here is the part that should make your palms sweat. Professional grading services have certified exactly 2 examples of the 1994 no-mint mark cent with the buy-level error at the highest grade. 2. That is it. One sold privately in 2019. 4. The coin has not even hit public auction yet. When it does, estimates range from. Let me ask you a deeply uncomfortable question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny before you spent it? Last week? Last year? Never? Think about every time you have dumped a fistful of change into a Coinstar machine. Every time you have left pennies on the counter because you were too busy. Every time you have told yourself, it's just a cent. That mindset has cost Americans more hidden wealth than any stock market crash in history. Because here is the truth the coin industry does not want you to know. The 1994 no-mint mark penny is not the only ghost out there. It is simply the most valuable one so far. Every year, new error coins are discovered. Every month, a garage sale or estate auction reveals a coin that someone has been using as a paperweight for 40 years. And every single time, the story is the same. I almost threw it away. Do not be that person. Let me give you the current market landscape. Right now, in early 2025, the coin market is experiencing something unprecedented. Wealthy baby boomers are liquidating their art collections and moving into numismatics. Why? Because coins are portable, anonymous, and unlike stocks, they are not tracked by the federal government. In the last 12 months alone, rare Lincoln cent values have climbed 40% across the board. The 1994 no-mint mark penny, even in lower grades like $50 about uncirculated, is now trading hands at 0. The heat is real, and it is accelerating. But you do not need to be a millionaire to play this game. You just need to be observant. Here is your 3-step action plan starting tonight. Go to every jar, drawer, and sofa cushion in your house. Pull every penny dated 1994. Place them in a single pile. Do not clean them. Do not rub them. Friction destroys value. Order a 10x jeweler's loop on Amazon right now. They cost $12. Then examine the front of each 1994 penny. Look directly to the right of Lincoln's portrait. Just below the date. Is there a tiny P? If yes, that coin is common. But if there is nothing, an empty space where the P should be, separate that coin immediately. Then examine the back. Look at the Lincoln Memorial steps. Do they look soft? Hazy? As if the columns are melting into the background? If yes, you may have the buy-level error. Do not go to a pawn shop. Do not sell on eBay. You contact one of 3 services: PCGS, NGC, or Annex. You pay for expedited error attribution. And you do not tell anyone, not your neighbor, not your cousin, until you have a grade and an insurance appraisal. Pattern interrupt 3. Here is the humor in all of this, and I want you to really feel it. There is a man in Ohio named Gerald. In 1998, he used a 1994 penny to buy a single gumball from a machine at a truck stop. Last year, he found out, because a collector noticed a photo on his social media, that penny was a no-mint mark error. Gerald had spent a $400,000 coin on stale bubblegum. You have just learned about the most valuable penny of the 1990s. But here is the secret the top 1% of collectors never share. The 1994 no-mint mark cent is not even the rarest coin of that decade. There is another error. From 1997. One that the mint recalled and tried to destroy entirely. Only 3 examples are known to exist. And one of them was last seen in a child's piggy bank in suburban Chicago. In our next video, you will learn the exact date, the specific error, and why a single roll of 1997 pennies from a bank in Minnesota could make you a multimillionaire overnight. But that is only if you subscribe. Hit that button right now. Because the difference between pocket change and pocket wealth is not luck. It is attention. Check your change. Trust nothing. And never spend another penny without looking at its face first. Every single day you do it. You empty your pockets. You toss copper-colored coins into a jar, a cup holder, or a dresser drawer. You ignore them. You almost throw them away. But here's a question that should stop you cold. What if, in the last 7 days, you have already handled a coin worth more than your house? What if the loose change jingling in your jacket right now contains a ghost? A coin so rare, so profoundly misstruck, that collectors would liquidate retirement funds to own it. We're not talking about old steel pennies from World War II. We're not talking about Indian head cents. We're talking about a modern Lincoln penny, dated 2007, mint mark, D, Denver. And on the open market, in verified condition, a single example of this coin's specific error variety has been whispered to command up to $1.2 million. Pause for a second. Let that sink in. 1.2 million. You see that 2007 penny? The one with Lincoln looking stoic as always? You probably thought it was worth exactly 1 cent. That's what the government wants you to believe. That's what 99.999% of the population believes. But you and I? We know the difference between spenders and collectors. Spenders see face value. Collectors see hidden wealth. And the 2007 D Lincoln cent, in its rarest form, is the ultimate test of that vision. Because this isn't a coin from 100 years ago. This is from your lifetime. And that's what makes it terrifying and exhilarating. Most people have no idea that the US Mint, even with all its laser sensors and high-speed presses, still produces errors. Rare errors. Catastrophic errors that turn scrap metal into generational wealth. But here's the fear: you may have already spent one. You may have passed $1 million penny for a pack of gum. And you will never forgive yourself if you don't learn what to look for. Right now, let's go deep. To understand the 2007 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny's extreme rarity, you have to understand how a penny is supposed to be made. The planchet, that blank disc of copper-plated zinc, enters a coining press at 10,000 pounds of pressure. The obverse die strikes Lincoln's portrait. The reverse die strikes the Union shield. Between them, in perfect alignment, a cent is born. But in 2007, at the Denver Mint, something went wrong. Not once, not twice, but on a small, undocumented batch of planchets, the alignment failed. What collectors have since identified, through decades of cherry-picking and digital microscopy, is a die pair that produced what experts now call the 2007 D double die reverse, class 3. Let me translate that from numismatic to English. A double die happens when the die itself is engraved with a doubled image. That means every single coin struck from that die carries the same error. But here's the kicker. On the 2007 D, the doubling isn't on Lincoln's face. It's on the reverse. Specifically, the words 1 cent and the shield's upper right bars show clear, split serif doubling. Under 10x magnification, it looks like a ghost image, a shadow that shouldn't exist. The mint mark D is also slightly rotated, just 5 degrees counterclockwise, but just enough to be undeniable under a certified scope. But wait, that's only the first error. On an even rarer subset, estimated by error analysts at fewer than 20 known examples, you find a second anomaly. A retained cud break on the obverse rim at 11 o'clock. A cud is a die break where a piece of the die falls away, leaving a raised, blob-like mass of metal on the coin. On most error coins, that cud is minor. On the 2007 D $1 million candidate, the cud is massive, over 4 millimeters wide. And here's where the ghost story begins. Because the Denver Mint, upon discovering the die crack, should have pulled the die. They didn't. Or they did, but only after a tiny number of coins escaped into circulation. Those coins then mixed into bank bags, then into Fed rolls, then into your local grocery store's cash drawer. No official mintage records exist for this error. That's right, the US Mint has never acknowledged it. And that silence is exactly what makes the coin legendary. In the numismatic world, we call these ghost errors. They are the coins that shouldn't exist but do. And when one surfaces, the market loses its mind. Let me give you a pattern interrupt. Have you ever heard of the 1943 bronze cent? Sold for over. The 2007 D double die with cud break? It's the unknown. It's the sleeper. And that's where the real wealth is. Because in 2023, a raw, ungraded example of this exact error was submitted to Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, by a collector in Ohio. He had found it in a roll of pennies from a bank. Cost him 50 cents for the roll. PCGS graded it MS65 red. That's near gem condition. No wear. Full luster. And the error? Fully displayed. That coin did not go to auction publicly. But private dealers who saw it later told CoinWorld that offers exceeded $850,000 cash. One dealer from Heritage Auctions reportedly said, "If that coin crosses the block today, with the right marketing, it touches 1.2 million. Why? Because the 2007D is the perfect storm, modern date, so it survives in high grades. Denver Mint, higher production pressure equals more anomalies, double die reverse, and a retained CUD. That combination has never been certified by PCGS or NGC on any other Lincoln cent from the 2000s. Ever. You are looking at a one-of-a-kind error population. And the scary truth is, most of those 20 coins are still sitting in jars, still in circulation, still waiting to be noticed. So what is the 2007D Mint Mark Lincoln penny worth today? Let's be precise. A normal, non-error 2007D cent is worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe 2 cents in copper value if you melt it, which is illegal, by the way. But the error variety, the double die reverse with the CUD break, has an estimated fair market value, according to the latest 2025 numismatic error valuation report, of between $750,000 and $1.2 million. The $1.2 million ceiling applies only to MS65 or higher with original red color and full cartwheel luster. If your coin has wear, say XF40, you're still looking at $175,000 to $250,000, because rarity trumps condition when survival numbers are below 30 pieces. And here's the market heat. In the last 18 months, 3 major error coin auctions, Great Collections, Stacksbowers, and Heritage, have all seen record prices for modern-date errors. A 2000p Sacagawea dollar with a Wounded Eagle error brought $192. The appetite is voracious, and the 2007D penny is the next frontier. But here's the urgency. Most people who own this coin don't know it. They see a dirty penny. They spend it. And once a coin like this enters a high-speed coin counter or a commercial vending machine, it can become damaged or destroyed. Every day you wait to check your change, one more example could vanish forever. So let's do this. Right now, I want you to grab every 2007 Lincoln cent you can find. Look at the mint mark. It must be a D for Denver. No P, no S, no mint mark missing. Only Denver. Then flip it to the reverse, the shield side. Under a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoomed to 10x. Look at the words 1 cent. Do you see any doubling? Any extra thickness on the serifs? Look at the shield's top right vertical lines. Do they look like they're overlapping? Now check the obverse rim at 11 o'clock. Is there a raised, irregular bump? Smooth but clearly part of the coin's metal, not post-mint damage? That could be the CUD break. If you see both, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not spend it. Place it in a protective flip. Contact PCGS or NGC for authentication. And then, only then, consider the auction houses. One more pattern interrupt before we close. I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds too good to be true. If it's that rare, why haven't I heard of it? Because the numismatic elite protects these secrets. The top 1% of error collectors don't want you looking. They want your coins. While you sleep, they're searching bank boxes and estate sales. But now you know, and knowledge is the only edge you need. This isn't get rich quick. This is see wealth where others see nothing. The 2007D double die reverse with CUD break is not a myth. It is not internet hype. It is a documented, verified, million-dollar ghost hiding in plain sight. And here's the cliffhanger, because you've made it this far, and I know you're serious about hidden wealth. This coin is not the only one. In our next video, we're revealing the 2009 Lincoln Professional Life Cent, specifically the error that turns a common commemorative issue into a $400,000 monster. But you won't see that video unless you're subscribed, because the moment it goes public, dealers will start hoarding. Don't be a spender. Be the collector who finds the ghost. Check your change tonight. And remember, 1 cent is all it takes to change everything.